This is Volusia Today, a public information radio program brought to you by the County of Volusia.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Volusia Today. I'm Clayton Jackson with the Volusia County Government Community Information Division. Thank you so much for tuning in with us this morning. Volusia Today is made possible by our sponsors, the Daytona Beach International Airport, the Ocean Center, Volusia Recycles, and Votran Public Transportation. Today, I'm joined by one of our marketing specialists, Mr. Dave Hunt. How's it going, Dave?
Good, Clayton. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. We have an exciting weekend planned. We're going to celebrate our country's independence. We're going to have some barbecue, some family over. What plans you got going on?
Just take it easy. We have some pets at the house that this is their least favorite holiday. They really start freaking out when the fireworks go off. So we're going to take it easy. We got some thunder jackets for the pets. Probably going to wrap them up and just kind of stay with them, make sure they're good. We might head down to the beach, and that's expected to be busy. So if you are headed to the beach, make sure to do a little planning before. Look at alternate approaches to getting down to the beach because it's going to be busy down there. And if you are headed to the beach, swim in front of a staff lifeguard tower. That's going to ensure that you are the safest that you can be while down there. Rip currents are always a threat. There's afternoon thunderstorms. Don't mess with them. Lightning's a danger here in Florida. Everybody should know that if they live here. It's just a great weekend to get together, cook out, have a good time. But safety is number one this weekend and going into 4th of July for sure.
And download that Volusia Beaches app, right?
How could I forget that?
Oh, Heather's smiling. She's glad we mentioned that. So speaking of 4th of July, we got some fireworks planned, and who better to join us than Volusia County Fire Chief Joe King. How's it going, Chief King?
Good morning, Clayton. How you doing today?
I am doing great. So, to start out with a bang, pun intended here, about 4th of July and fireworks, let's get the show started. Tell us an incident that you or one of your team members had responded as firework related that it just makes you think, I can't believe this person did this.
Well, there's a couple things. I mean, every year there's injuries due to fireworks. There's fire due to fireworks. But 2 instances where people try and ignite fireworks and throw them. So they'll have them in their hand, they'll light them, and they'll try to throw them, and they explode in their hand. And it makes you think, what were you thinking? I mean, put them on the ground, light them, get away from them. And then when you're cleaning up after, I had a call many years ago where, the pre-boxed fireworks, everything's in there, so you light them off, a bunch of them go off. Well, the box is hot, it's still smoking, they pick it all up, they throw it in the garbage, they set it next to the house. The garbage can lit on fire up against the house, got up into the eaves, and it's like, it was still hot and smoking when you put it in the garbage. And we put those rules, the suggestions out there of how to handle fireworks every year.
And it can happen to anybody at any time. If you're playing with fireworks, they're dangerous. That's what it is. I remember a couple years back, a defensive end from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ended up having an incident. Right. And you think, like, how can this happen to this guy? Well, it can happen to anybody. So that safety is number one. I've already started hearing some fireworks. I know that fireworks are not allowed on the beach at all, period, approaches, parks, all that. But what is the rules and the legality regarding fireworks? Are they allowed all the time? When can we shoot them off? What's the deal with that?
So the true rule in Florida is if it leaves the ground or explodes, it's considered illegal. But a few years back, they passed legislation that allows you to light fireworks off on 4th of July, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day, those 3 days. So other than that, they're illegal. So if you're buying them from a roadside stand, and we encourage people, don't buy them, sign the waivers that says I'm going to use them to flag down a train, scare off birds, or, that doesn't make them legal. They're only legal 4th of July, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Other than that, they're considered illegal in the state.
So for anybody thinking about, again, we have a long weekend ahead. Probably a lot of people are taking off Monday. So you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then the 4th of July comes on Tuesday.
So we'll have 5 days of fireworks.
But only one day is legal, right?
Right.
On Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So we just want to let our listeners hear that from the man himself, that Tuesday, 4th of July is, legally speaking, the only day you are authorized to shoot off fireworks. And is that countywide, correct?
That's statewide.
Statewide,
yeah.
okay.
So really what, the catchy phrase they put out there is, light them off when they're supposed to be lit off, but other than that, leave it to the professionals.
No.
Go see a fireworks show, but, it's going to happen, but we also put out there then, if you're going to do it, be safe.
Be safe, be smart about it.
Make sure you light them off correctly, stand away from them, have kids away from them, have water available, just in case there's an issue with one. You don't want to pick it up. If you light one and it doesn't go off, don't just walk up there and try to relight it again. Don't walk up there and, try and pick it up and, see if there's something wrong with it, because then it might happen what we talked about earlier with exploding in the hand.
Now, what about the time? So obviously 4th of July is the day you can shoot them off. Is that 24 hours of fun that they can have, or are there certain time restrictions?
Well, technically it's 4th of July.
4th of July, okay.
New Year's Eve, so 12 o'clock to 12 o'clock. But you also, I would say, be considerate of your neighbors, where you're lighting them off. Animals, if you're out in the, in the rural areas, be cognizant of your neighbors with horses and livestock, and because we'll hear it every year. Fireworks were lit off and a horse ran through a fence, or like in your case, Dave, with the dogs. My dog was the same way. Mm-hmm. Fireworks would start cracking and he'd hide anywhere he could. We're lucky now he's 13 years old and he's deaf, so the fireworks go off and he just sits there.
Nice.
So I'm sorry that he's deaf.
Right.
It's nice for him during the 4th of July now.
I think what you just said, be conscious of your neighbors, because it's illegal, but people are going to do what they do. Right. So I would just ask everybody, if you are going to not follow the law and do what you need to do there, at least be conscious of your neighbors. Right. There's kids, there's people, who knows what somebody's got going on the next day, the pets, all that. So definitely be conscious. It's good this year for people celebrating 4th of July, because the events, all the big city events are a go. We've been in situations in the past where we're in a drought this time of year. Can you talk a little bit about that and how this year is actually prime time for
fireworks? So this year we're lucky. We've gotten a lot of rain. Drought index today is at 98, so it's pretty wet. So usually we've had some years in the past where we're all working up to the 4th of July, deciding if we're going to cancel fireworks shows or if there's going to be a burn ban. And we're lucky. At the beginning of this year, we were there. We were getting there, getting ready. Volusia County never enacted a burn ban. We had a lot of counties around us that did. But we were lucky enough to start getting some rain, and this way we can celebrate the holiday and, cook out and do everything we want to do.
That's awesome.
But that still means be conscious.
Right.
Like if you're near a wooded area,
right.
What about a subdivision area? Like, should people be shooting off fireworks in their subdivision with houses all around them?
Well, it's like we said before. I mean, you really need to know your surrounding, be aware of your neighbors. I mean, you don't want to just sit in your backyard and light fireworks off till midnight. So most subdivisions or HOAs, per se, might have, noise ordinance or something, nothing past 8 o'clock, nothing past 10 o'clock. I think if you're doing the right thing, you should try to stay within those lines as well. But, like we said, those 3 days, in this case, a 5-day, a 4 or 5 day weekend, you're going to hear a lot of fireworks over the several days.
And we're talking about safety, and accidents happen. At the end of the day, you're playing with explosives. That's what's happening. So all those precautions are necessary. But then on the flip side of that, there's trash. These fireworks leave trash, and especially on the beach. Fireworks are not allowed on the beach, but once again, people do what they want to do. The following day after 4th of July, there's an inordinate amount of fireworks on the beach. There's sea turtles nesting right now. That's terrible for the sea turtles. It just trashed our beach environment. We got 5 days of this, possibly 5 days that people are going to be lighting these off. So if you are enjoying the beach, I would even encourage residents and visitors, if you see trash on the beach, pick it up. It's affecting more than just us. It's affecting the wildlife and the environment of the beach. But yeah, I feel like the message really is the same thing it should always be. Look after your neighbors, be conscious of everybody else around you, have a good time, take the precautions, and be safe, because stuff does happen. And we're so lucky here in Volusia County to have public safety departments and divisions that look after the individuals and are just top-notch organizations that help in that. But it really comes down to the personal responsibility of us to do our part and do what's necessary.
Yeah, and the big thing, I mean, it's just like a bonfire on the beach. If you go out there and light a bonfire on the beach, put the beach back the best you can. Same thing with if you're lighting fireworks off around your house or in the neighborhood. Clean up after. And what they always said, like I said, the first incidents with the house fire, have water available, soak everything before you throw it in the garbage. I mean, because a lot of these things we're buying on the roadside, they're pre-packaged, multiple shooting mortars coming out of them. And, it gets hot. It's cardboard. It smolders in there. So soak everything, especially if something doesn't go off or malfunctions. Best thing to do with that is let it soak for a while.
And I wanted to get, and then if anybody's new to Florida, you might not know, but a lot of the cities and a lot of the cities really put on some amazing fireworks shows. Go to your city website, see what they might have going on, because they really pride themselves, put a lot of money and effort into those fireworks shows, and you're not going to see anything that anybody residentially is lighting off at these fireworks shows. So it's a great opportunity to get out, kind of join your community and have a safe time out there. And I know the city, I don't know necessarily if Volusia County is involved in the planning process, but I used to work in Port Orange, and the fire department was heavily involved. The fire marshal was heavily involved in the safety regarding that. There was a lot of focus on that.
Right. We help out a lot, like with Lake Helen, Orange City, Pearson. Those events that they do, we do standbys. I know every year we're heavily involved with the Orange City planning. Our fire marshal goes to those meetings. We do standbys for, like I said, Lake Helen, Pearson event, Orange City event. So those we're heavily involved in, and that's generally what you see when we're a county, an unincorporated county.
And that goes back to kind of off of fireworks in general, but y'all work together, right? Like all the fire departments, you all have each other's back. Y'all work together on most of this stuff?
The whole county works together. We're all run under one single dispatch, so it's a closest unit response for all emergency calls. Call comes into dispatch. They decide the response that's needed. And we talked before of, emergency, a medical call comes in and people ask the question, why is the fire truck coming? Well, the way the county runs a two-tier system is every fire truck in the county is advanced life support, paramedics on the truck, all the equipment that an ambulance has, except they can't transport a patient to the hospital. So the fire trucks are spread out more throughout the county. The goal is to get them there in 4 to 8 minutes, and then the ambulance comes behind, transport the patient to the hospital. So that whole system has been in place. I've been here 33 years, and we've been doing it,
Amazing collaboration you guys have. And speaking of ambulances, that makes me and Dave think of our old boss and previous co-host, Kevin Captain. He's the director of the county's emergency medical services. So, Kevin, if you're listening, we miss you, but we know you're doing great. With that, we're going to take a short break. Stay with us for more Volusia Today.
Subscribe to the Volusia County YouTube channel.
And hit the bell icon to know what's happening in your hometown.
There are so many great places to explore.
And things to learn.
With over 1,000 videos available right now, the channel offers something for everyone.
Let's go!
Did you know we have countless features showcasing history, nature, wildlife, and recreation? Subscribe and hit the bell icon.
Or that we live stream important county meetings and workshops where leaders make decisions that can impact our everyday lives. Did you subscribe yet?
Or that we record our weekly radio show, Volusia Today, where we interview staff from the different divisions and departments across our great county, and they discuss the nitty-gritty of their field and expertise.
Go ahead, subscribe.
But that's not it. There's more. Subscribe and hit the bell icon and fully explore.
Score!
We're back. I'm David Hunt along with Clayton Jackson, and you're listening to Volusia Today, a public information program brought to you by the County of Volusia. Joining us today is Chief King, and we're talking fireworks. So a firework or something that people buy a lot, they think they're the safest things ever. People let their kids run wild with them, are sparklers.
Oh, those nasty things.
Are sparklers dangerous?
Well, they can be. I mean, you think about it. It's a little metal stick. You're giving it to a 3-year-old, and you're letting them run around with it. I mean, we were all told don't run with sharp objects. And so you really, when you light these for the kids and give it to them, don't let them run around. They're all going to swing them around because it's cool in the dark. The
try to spell their names.
You can make, but also make sure that the kids, when they're doing it, they're 3-4 feet apart so they don't hit each other with it. Because you light them things, they're 1,200 plus degrees. I mean, they're little, they're hot, and they can burn. And kids will grab them when they're still hot. So you got to be careful, and you got to let kids know. Always when kids are around fireworks, supervision, close supervision. That's usually the problem all the time with everything. I was just there a second ago, and then that happens. So.
And they are hot, and they are basically little fire starters.
Right.
So I've seen a lot of videos recently where the people who are celebrating have a big pile of all their fireworks, and somebody will be running around with a sparkler, and all of a sudden
lighting them.
Yeah. So what's even the deal with that? Do you want to store all your fireworks together in one spot, or what would be your kind of idea about that?
If you see safety about fireworks, I'll always say never light off multiple ones at one time, because you're trying to do that, and now you're just standing there as they start going off. I mean, that's why when you buy them, the prepackaged ones, they're like a firework display. Mm-hmm. They're set up in sequential order. You light the wick of the box, and they go off. People try to set that up, and they'll use like you said, the sparkler, because you don't have to keep lighting a lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of lighting fireworks, just use caution. Said light and run.
Right.
Light and run. It kind of makes me think of that infamous YouTube video. Put in reverse, Terry. Hey, I got the studio laughing. All right. So sorry. I've had that in my pocket. I had to bring that one out for today's show.
If you don't know what Clayton's talking about, go on YouTube and type that in.
Just type in "put it in reverse, Terry."
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, so it does have some educational value to that. So y'all briefly mentioned on this earlier about keeping a pet safe a little bit. Do you want to go into a little bit more about some of the precautionary measures that residents can take to ensure their their pets are safe during this time?
Well, the hard part is if your neighbors are lighting off fireworks, you can't control that. So I mean, there's things your pet. You can do things to try to keep them calm or put them in areas of your house, but it's more on if you're going to be lighting fireworks off, know your surroundings, know what and try to do it at reasonable times. And like I said before, especially when people think just because they're out in the rural areas, it's not a big deal. But I promise you, every year we hear about horses running through fences and stuff like that because you just don't think about it. You think I'm out in a rural area, it's no big deal. We shoot guns all the time, but we hear something like that every year. So I think mostly in the subdivisions of household pets, it's more on the person lighting the fireworks to be more. I mean, like you said, David, some pet owners use the thunder jackets. Mm-hmm. My dog couldn't stand that. He put it on him, and it was like he was in prison. He stood there.
Really?
Didn't even move.
Poor guy.
So,
couldn't even get away.
Yeah, so we couldn't use those. And, like I said, now that he can't hear, we just start laughing because the fireworks go off, and he just
what's
walks
going
around
on? Where's
like
food?
Yeah.
So even like some pet owners, maybe even rural areas and even in subdivisions, when I guess there are leash laws, they may just let their pets run out without a leash, do their business, and they're used to them is running back in. So that's probably a big no-no the next few days. Probably.
Right. But I can tell you that when my dog could hear, it was get the dog, walk the dog, do it before dark, get him back in the house, because we'd get 4 or 5 houses down the block. We'd walk around the block, and one firework would pop off, and he'd turn around and try to walk straight back to the house.
Yeah, it's insane the effect it could have. And I kind of looking back at my past is like when I was a kid, it was all rah rah, no thoughts about anybody else. Now I have the dogs, and my wife's legitimately saying, I'm like, hey, you want to go do this? She's like, I think I need to stay with the dogs tonight. So it's kind of wild how stuff changes throughout your life, and your whole viewpoint and paradigm on 4th of July kind of changes. It's kind of wild.
All right, so a lot of good information on fireworks. So now let's dig into a little bit more about the Volusia County Fire Rescue. If one of our listeners out there had some thoughts about joining your team, becoming a firefighter, how would they go about doing that?
Well, in the state of Florida, first off, you have to be state certified. You can't just go to sign an application, I want to be a firefighter, and, walk in the door with no training. So you're looking at, it's 400 hours for minimum standards fire training, which is roughly 5-6 months. And then on top of that, you do basic EMT to be eligible to be hired in the state. So you're looking at a year, a little over a year, to be even eligible to put an application in. Most departments now require you to be a paramedic, which is another 1.5 to 2 years. So you're putting an investment into the job. You got to want to do it.
Well, I know everybody I grew up with, you see them moving on through life, and I don't know what y'all are doing, but you're picking the best of the best. All the guys that I grew up with who were the best of the best, good athletes, smart guys who like to serve, just guys, I don't know, you kind of look up to around town, they all went and they were firefighters. So I don't know how does that, why does everybody want to be a firefighter? Or at least my group of friends I grew up with, firefighter was like a pinnacle job. Is that still the case? And how's that fostered?
I think so. I think a lot of it, you see athletes and stuff because of the team sport. It's always like it's the same thing. It's like the military. It's a team sport. It's a coming together as a group. So this job is really comforting to that. I played a lot of sports in high school, college, and the fire department was it was comfort for me. It was just, but to be successful in this job, it's got to be about serving the community. It's got to be about serving others. If you have that and you enjoy something different every day, because you come to work and that's the cool thing about the fire department. You come to work, it's not the same thing. You're not going to sit and do the same data work. You're not going to sit and dig the same hole. It's the tones go off and you can see something for the first time that you've never seen before. So that's neat about it. So some people like that. It's just the
camaraderie almost.
Camaraderie of the department is, that's what people, strive for, you hear them talk about, you hear morale, camaraderie, and that's the fun part. It's another family. A third of your life you're at the fire station, 24 hours on, 48 off in most cases. So it's another family.
And we had our beach safety team on a few weeks ago, and like the physical requirements that they told us that somebody had to be a lifeguard blew my mind. Right. What type of physical requirements would it take to somebody to be a firefighter?
Well, like I said, it's a lot of hours of training. Every year they're required by the state ISO and all that to 200 hours of minimum training. We have to do 18 hours a year in facility training, which is like burn building, maze stuff. So real rigorous type training. So if you think about it, like I said, working 1 day on, 2 days off, you're looking at a minimum of every shift trying to do at least 2 hours of training a day. And that's the job. You're training for what could happen all the time. But it's a very physical, demanding job. Every time you look at like our testing, they go through that physical abilities test is what they call it. Some call it CPAT, a combat challenge. All of that, it incorporates areas of the job and makes you do it in like a 4 to 7 or 8 minute stamina, event.
When you talk about responding to whatever can happen, can you give me like the smallest thing you respond to the largest thing you respond to, and then like in between?
Well, what's funny, and I always said this before, and I don't know if the police officers get mad when I say this, but when you call 911, I think the fire department is the MacGyver of the 911 system, because when the operator's sitting there and they go, I don't know what to do with this call, they call the fire department. We come with a big truck with a lot of equipment on it, and our job is to just show up there, take the problem, and figure out people's problems. So, you used to joke around, you'd hear that we got called for cats in a tree.
Right.
It's just, I lock my keys in the car, there's a cat in a tree. We go, somebody's fallen at home, we go to pick them up. You name it, we do it. Now, when you talk largest, building collapses, hurricane events, deployments. There's a lot of stuff, large structure fires. So, but your everyday, you're looking at almost every fire department's running 70 to 80-ish% calls is your medical calls, your vehicle accidents that are really medical calls. That's a large majority of our calls are medical.
All right. And before we go into our last break, if somebody witnesses one of their neighbors or friends doing some unruly things, like maybe lighting off fireworks and they're hitting people's cars or doing some other mischief behavior, who should they call?
Well, what we try to tell people, if they don't feel like they're in danger, their house isn't in danger of a fire or them in danger of being hurt, try not to call 911 and really busy the system up. I think there was a number posted on a recent from the sheriff's office.
Yeah, the sheriff's office. So just to let everybody know, if it's not an emergency and you're just witnessing some people doing some unruly things, obviously call law enforcement. You could also call the Volusia Sheriff's Office. They have a phone number at 386-248-1777 and option 4. Again, any unruly behavior, once it's not a threat, call the Volusia Sheriff's Office. Yeah. All right, with that, we're going to take our last commercial break. Stay with us.
Subscribe to the Volusia County YouTube channel.
And hit the bell icon to know what's happening in your hometown.
There are so many great places to explore.
And things to learn.
With over 1,000 videos available right now, the channel offers something for everyone.
Let's go!
Did you know we have countless features showcasing history, nature, wildlife, and recreation? Subscribe and hit the bell icon.
Or that we live stream important county meetings and workshops where leaders make decisions that can impact our everyday lives. Did you subscribe yet?
Or that we record our weekly radio show, Volusia Today, where we interview staff from the different divisions and departments across our great county, and they discuss the nitty-gritty of their field and expertise.
Go ahead, subscribe.
But that's not it. There's more. Subscribe and hit the bell icon and fully explore.
Score!
We're back with Volusia Today. I'm Clayton Jackson. So, Chief King, closing words for our audience today.
I think we covered a lot of good stuff today. I think the big thing is to just be safe, have fun, be cognizant of your surroundings, your neighbors, where you're going to light fireworks off, and just remember when you're cooking out, move the grill away from the house at least 3-4 feet. Don't light, your house on fire while you're trying to barbecue hamburgers and hot dogs while you're having fun at the pool.
All right. Thank you so much, Chief King. And with that, everybody have a safe and happy Independence Day weekend. Thank you.
If you have a comment about Volusia Today, or if there is a topic you would like to hear featured, please contact Volusia County Community Information at 1-866-345-0345.